Hello and welcome to the Master Trams YouTube channel, where I have downloaded a decade-old map and am continuing to play through it. Now, one thing you will have noticed immediately is that I am not in the save, I am on the home screen, and that is because there is something that I want to show you very quickly, which is a new graphics set. So I've already downloaded it, but I'll just quickly show you. You click on Get Content, and it is this one here. OpenGFX2 Classic. Now apparently there is a high definition one in the works, but that is a beta and it wouldn't really fit with the other new GRFs I'm using. But the classic version, that works really well. And while I'm at it, I'm also going to enable sounds because, and there you go, it's already had an effect. And here you can see what OpenGFX2 looks like. Though I am going to just go into graphics, set parameters and mouse cursor, OpenGFX style. Okay. Much better. So now I am going to go into the game very quickly and I will see you in a second. And here we are in the save file. So obviously last episode we were looking at Grutfield here, but we were also looking at Lonningville, which was in the thumbnail. Now today we are still going to be working on the Southern Main Line in a fashion. We're not going to be doing we're not going to be doing major infrastructure works, but we are going to start off with a bit of signalling back at Platworth. But then today's video is about trains rather than railways. So obviously you can see the difference that OpenGFX2 has made. The most obvious difference is the trees and the rocks, but yeah, I just think it looks really cool. Now, there is something slightly more depressing that I need to show you, and that revolves around the finances of this company. Now, you can see at the bottom of the screen here that it says I have got £912 million in the bank. You would have thought that that's a good thing. However, in episode 1, it was over £1 billion. So if I go into the finances tab, you can see that we are hemorrhaging money, and that's even if all the trains weren't clogged at Platworth. So I reckon we've got a ticking time bomb of maybe 20 years, so 2160, until we run out of money. So we need to fix this company and we need to make it profitable if we are to fund anything once those 20 years are up. The good thing is that we don't have any loan taken out, but that's very much a small mercy. Anyway, we are now going to go into a time lapse where I am going to be editing the signals around Platworth and the resulting gridlock. While we're doing that time lapse, I want to just tell you about some news that is very exciting to me. Now, those of you that know me well will know that I'm a big fan of handball, a sport that is quite niche here in the UK. It's arguably the second biggest sport behind football in many parts of Europe, but it's not that popular over here. Anyway, last weekend, while I was busy building Lonningville's new sidings, Great Britain's national handball team were playing in the first round of qualifying for the 2028 Euros that will be held in Spain, Portugal and Switzerland. There were 4 teams in this round, those being the hosts, Bulgaria, Cyprus, Great Britain and Malta, all competing to not be handball's equivalent of San Marino in football. And GB did rather well. On the Friday, we beat Malta by 37 goals to 14. On the Saturday, we beat Cyprus 28 to 26. And then on the Sunday, we drew with Bulgaria 27 all. This was enough to top the group, meaning that alongside Cyprus, we've qualified for the next round of qualifying, which will take place in January 2026. Why the long wait? Well, we've got to wait for both the IHF Emerging Nations Championship to happen in the spring, and for the second phase of qualification for the 2026 Euros to finish in May. Oh, and this is the furthest GB have ever made it in Euros qualifying. So, now that signalling is done, you can see that, trains are actually moving, which is a good thing. Okay, never mind, I'll take it back. Right, so now that's done. There is one thing I forgot to do in relation to the finances, and that is, if I just bet, percentage of leg profit to pay into feeder systems. I am going to set this to 0 so that this screen doesn't lie to us. Now, yes, it says that our trains lost 26 million last year, which is already bad, but trust me, that is a positive light. Because what this screen does, or what that feeder setting does, is it gives trains that were only transferring passengers income. So therefore it makes each train think it made more money than it did, which is why I'm changing it. So now we will know which trains are profitable and which ones are unprofitable, which should help with diagnosing any issues. Now, another thing I forgot to do was last episode. Because if we come over to the new line we built, you'll see a fairly glaring error or omission in that I forgot to build the stations. So we are going to do that very quickly. Fortunately, they're not going to be that difficult. Rundberg City is just going to be that. And then this, bush, and then that. Meanwhile, Frontingwell Ridge, they're going to have a bridge, then some benches, and then a timetable. And that is it. So now we are going to prepare the route for my new service, which is a Lonningville to Fort Brondinghall service. Now that involves just rebuilding the stations and re-signalling the line through Nonhill and Brenningwell Ridge. And we will also need to redo this route because this tunnel is just unnecessary. But I'm going to do this all as a time lapse, so I'll see you in a minute. There won't be any commentary this time. Right, now that that is done, we can begin assembling this service that I want to implement. So first off, we're going to have to actually get the train, and for this I'm going to use an express sprinter with 2 carriages. We are going to go on Lonningville sidings, Lonningville, down to Runtberg, Froningwell Ridge, Flettinghall Mill, Musinghatton Ridge, Grutfield, Nonhill, Great Brennington, Brenningwell Ridge, and Brondinghall. Fort Brondinghall, sorry. And then just back the other way. So how this is going to work is I usually do 2 runs when I'm timetabling a new service. One to build demand, and then one to actually autofill the timetable. So I will do the first run off camera, and then you will join me for the second run. So now we just need to do the details. So far end, no loading and no unloading, nothing at Lonningville, nothing all the way through to Fort Brondinghall. Then at Lonningville, unload and leave empty, far end, no loading, no unloading, and then always go. So, like I said, I am going to do the first run now off camera, and you will join me back when I'm done. So the autofilling is done, the timetable is almost done. Now I just need to introduce you to two very important features, and boy am I over the moon at the moment. You will come to realise why quite quickly. So what I am going to build this map's timetable on are two somewhat recent features. Actually, that might not be quite true, they might be quite old. But anyway, they are unique to this patch pack, to JGR's patch pack. As such, Zest Husky didn't have these features back when he was playing this map. And trust me, they are game-changing features. So the first one is scheduled dispatch, which is basically how you recreate a realistic timetable in OpenTTD. So vanilla has nothing like this, and as such you just have to use Zest Husky's methods, which are a decade old, and I'm not entirely sure there is anything better in vanilla. But if I enable this, suddenly you have a wealth of possibilities. And well, first off, we're going to make this timetable start at 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 AM, because the way UK railways run is, if you're lucky, the last train will run at like 1 AM, and by lucky I mean if you're in London. Like where I am, the last train is at 9 PM. Anyway, so what we are going to do is we are going to click on add slot with control button. I held down control, starting at 5 AM, and we are just going to have a half-hourly departure until, let's say, midnight. And there you go. So this has created a half-hourly departure. Now I can assign this dispatch slot to that older, and you'll see it will only leave Lonningville on the hour or on the half hour. But I will just add 1 minute of delay, just in case. Oh, and I can also rename the depot, which is especially handy. Now, I'm going to go and create a second dispatch slot, this time called depot. And I'm going to take a look at the first dispatch slot, which is 5 AM. Look at the timetable, so it takes 7.5 minutes from leaving the depot from leaving the sidings, sorry, to leaving Lonningville. So I'm going to add a slot saying 4:50. And because I'm expecting this timetable to use 2, I'm going to add another one that says 5:20. Sorry, to use 2 trains. And I'm going to assign that schedule there. So yeah. Right, and now this is the second important bit. If I go into orders, bring it out here, click on the bottom one, and then conditional order jump to Lonningville. So jump to order 2 when dispatch slot Lonningville next departure slot is not first slot. And then I can 2.5. Yeah, I am hoping that I've got the schedule just right, such that it only needs 2 units. Because there are 9 berths at Lonningville sidings for trains of this length. So I am trying to take up as few as possible with this service, so that I can add other trains in as well that also use the depot. So that is basics of a timetable setup. Now I need to just go ahead to when this train returns to Lonningville, and I will then be able to tell you whether I have got this timetable correct or not. But I genuinely think I might have got this timetable spot on. So I'll see you then. Fantastic. And not in a good way. So it departs Rundberg at 52 minutes and 30 seconds. And so it should be 2.5 minutes, yeah. So 52 and 30 becomes 53 and then 55. So why is it saying 56? Why is it saying it will arrive at 2056? I genuinely don't know. If I want to make this just 2, this isn't adding up, I'll be honest. Oh well, I'm going to create 2. Because hopefully this will work without, despite the maths. Yeah, because this isn't making a lick of sense currently. I am just going to increase the delay on this to 2 minutes, but otherwise this timetable should work. So yeah, this timetable must work, even if it's arriving at 56. The delay of 2 minutes means the latest it can arrive is 57. So yeah, I am happy to say that is done. Right. Now there is another service I want to add. It's slightly different in that I don't care about the proper timetabling. This is just a building reputation service. And that is a service along this line, what I am calling the Hont Hill line. So as you can see, all the local authorities along this line are red, which means appalling. So I am just going to create a very simple service from Fort Brondinghall to Renfingbourne via this line. It will be half hourly in frequency, and that will just mean that through other episodes, as I'm working on other bits of the line, this line will be served, reputation will increase, and eventually I'll be able to make changes to this line that I already know I'm going to need to make. Because currently, the Southern Main Line goes through Flunfingfield and then turns east. But there will be some trains, especially from Little Draham, that I want to call at Renfingbourne. So I am going to be sending them via this line and through Flunfingfield and into Renfingbourne. But like I said, I need to make infrastructure changes to this line in order to make that work. So we are now going to go into another time lapse. And yeah, setting up this service should take significantly less time than the 12 to 16 hours I am expecting it to take to build the reputation. So, that is this new service done. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 towns all now have a regular half-hourly service. And yeah, I'm estimating we will probably return to this line maybe around episode 20, maybe sooner, maybe later, who knows. But yeah. So meanwhile, to loop back to the beginning of the video, well, they are moving, just not very efficiently. It's all a bit of a slog. I mean, New Slaston's clear. Cadhatton is clear. Even Sarnway's kind of clear. Yeah, Frinfing Way. Yeah. It's all doing well. Huh. Oh well. But yeah, so Preffingham and Pladworth, they will just clear up with time. But yeah, so I'll see you next week. Saturday, midday, every week. I'm going to try and upload. In the meantime, feel free to join my Discord. Link is down in the description. That is probably the easiest way to access me, other than in the comments down below. So please leave a comment if you have any suggestions for the series, maybe a service suggestion, because I'll be honest, I'm kind of struggling for the local services. Express and regional services I have got sorted, but local, I'd appreciate some help, so any suggestions down in the comments below. Other than that, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and if you could share it with some of your friends, that would be greatly appreciated. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Goodbye.